The Monastery Run Improvement Project is a 20-acre passive wetland treatment system that was created to alleviate the pollution from coal mine drainage here around Saint Vincent College.
This is a wonderful story of how students have helped to initiate and foster so many projects at Saint Vincent. Our students were interns in various government facilities in the Pittsburgh area. And they learned about not only mining and mine drainage, but ways we could remediate that mine drainage.
It became apparent from some analysis that people had been looking at. Primarily, Dr. Walter and Bob Hedden had come to the site and done some chemical analysis, and they started to see that the kind of mine drainage discharge that we had here at St. Vincent was the kind that was treatable. And so at that point then we kind of called for the coalition to come together and we asked, who is interested in being part of this coalition? And so a number of different groups came together and we just started the project.
We had people from Westmoreland Conservation District, Greg Phillips, Loyal Hannah Watershed, Lyle Sherwin, Wes Gordon from the Natural Resources Conservation Services. Of course, the faculty members that were involved here at St. Vincent in chemistry and biology.
Now, we have a wonderful circumstance here where we have the happy geologic accident of having limestone near our acid mine drainage discharge coming from the earth and flowing through the limestone and then coming out, depositing water in areas near streams that is rich in many pollutants, but also fairly neutral.
We were fortunate. We were fortunate in that the water was essentially alkaline, so we did not have to treat the water with the removal of the reduction of the acidic nature. So if we could get this water retained, the iron, which was the principal metal that was the problem in the water, would precipitate out.
The mine drainage comes up from the ground through the groundwater system, and at St. Vincent we have numerous boreholes and seeps through the ground, so the mine water comes up through those, enters the wetland systems, and then just with gravity and time and space, it oxidizes and then it precipitates out the iron oxide, which then eventually stays in the wetland and the clean water goes back into the stream.
By capturing that iron in the wetlands, we now have rescued some of the life of the Loyal Hannah. And when we restore a bigger stream like the Loyal Hannah, we then can restore its fisheries population, and we can restore the many children that want to play along the Loyal Hannah and visitors that want to walk along it, and also people that fish there. All those are things that are something that brings the community together and also brings a lot of dollars back in the way of ecotourism income.
But at one point, it was in, I believe, 1998, that we thought another way that might capture what had been done here was to invite local artists on a particular day to come and to paint, sketch, take some photography. It was billed as a day in the life of the Monastery Run wetlands. So we invited local artists. A number of came, I don't know, 30, 40. And after about a month or two, we had an exhibit. And we ended up then purchasing several of the pieces that were presented. The number one painting that was judged in that competition was Monastery Run in the Morning by Rita Haldeman. It hangs in my secretary's office. The invitation to this 20th anniversary symposium had a vision of Brother Norman. That was a work done by Kathleen Forret. I happened to be walking down that day. She said, "Would you mind if I take your picture?" I said, "No, that's fine." So I stood in the little bridge that went across 4 Mile Run, took the photograph, and from the photograph then painted what she'd entitled The Vision of Brother Norman. So it's a product of that event, capturing a particular point in time in history that I am pleased with. We were also very interested from an educational point of view to have opportunities for our students and faculty to be engaged in the kind of research work, so that in retrospect, after these passive wetland treatment systems were established, effectively what was created was a natural laboratory for our students.
There have been many, many students in environmental science and environmental chemistry and biology who've done their senior research projects down there. We take our classes down there, so Dr. Walters will take her biology classes, the environmental science classes all go down. As a matter of fact, I teach a course called Science of Abandoned Mine Drainage, and so that course is all about the mine drainage, and it's a really nice course because it's very interdisciplinary. It allows me to talk about chemistry and biology and geology and really pull all that together, but the students can see, here's mine drainage and what's the problem, and they really get a sense of all that.
One of our initial summer institutes in watershed restoration, a summer program, was with teachers, and those teachers designed a elementary age outreach program for Wetland number 3. And from that, we have just grown the amount of programming that we provide. It's all hands-on, interactive, science-based curriculum where the teachers get pre-activities and the children come and visit the wetlands, learn about coal mining history, about wetland ecosystems, and how wetlands are used to treat abandoned mine drainage, all out in the field, and do some chemical testing. They dissect cattails. We look at the insects and the other flora and fauna that live in the wetlands, and it's a great experience that addresses the academic standards for science.
It was also a place where people enjoyed walking, whether it was checking on the fact that there are still frogs in these ponds, or the dragonflies that could be identified, or the red-winged blackbirds that would cluster in the cattails in the evening time.
Well, the wetlands were actually built to last for 20 years. 20 years is what we've actually started the process. We actually had the first wetland begin in 1997 and actually receive water at that point. So we're about 4 years short of hitting our 20-year mark, and in September of 2012 we emptied wetland number 1, which is the furthest upstream wetland, and we took the sludge out of that wetland and put it into a drying basin through a Green Greener grant. And that is drying right now, and then we'll eventually remove that and then work our way down to the other wetland systems that need the sludge removed.
We had always envisioned that this would be the beginning of really cleaning up additional discharges downstream. So we said, the 4 Mile Run discharges are the first real impacts into the Loyalhanna, and then we'd like to continue that movement, and we're seeing that already. The Loyalhanna watershed has already cleaned up and done some other wetlands in the Latrobe area. We're looking at Crabtree, which has just a huge discharge, 5,000 gallons a minute, and it's really a hard one to figure out, but there are people now that are starting to work on that. And so I think, so I'm seeing some additional cleanup of the Loyalhanna watershed from mine drainage. So that's one thing. I think the education part is also is the other side of this. I would like to see, additional students, additional people, looking at the education side of the mine drainage.
Well, I think we've grown from what we call the Wild and Wonderful Wetland Experience program, and we do preschool programming with the Wetland Project. We also do general programs for a variety of groups and individuals. Since then, we've developed a Goodbye Orange Water booklet through funding from the PADEP, and has been disseminated across the state. A mine drainage curriculum that, kindergarten to 12th grade uses.
It's been a project that has been extraordinarily satisfying. It became an opportunity for us to do some good work, but it was also an opportunity for people from other communities to come and see what was done here. So this also became an opportunity for us to showcase how remediation might be done, how community members could be pulled together.